Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 26 of the In From Japan podcast. As always, I'm your host, Erroll, joined by my co-host, the phenomenon from Suriname, Jason Corder.
Hey, hey.
And today we have a very special guest, the GameSpot reviews editor and Pokemon queen herself, Kallie Plagge.
Hi! I'm so excited. It's me.
And we're just gonna start with the Japanese games we've been playing lately. So, Kallie, since you're our guest, we'll start with you. So, what have you been playing?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I still play Animal Crossing: New Horizons every single day. It is my passion.
I could do that.
It is my main hobby. I love it so much, and the thing I've been doing lately in the game is just like town decoration stuff, because we're kind of in a lull right now between events. Obviously, the big like summer, the diving swimming event, well, not event, but feature being added just got announced. So I'm gonna still be playing every day for that, but I have been getting really into like custom content designs, decorating. I have like a picnic area on my island, and I'm working on where my museum's gonna go. So I've been doing that kind of stuff. I have a whole folder on my phone of inspiration photos that I download from Twitter.
Wow.
Wait, you don't have the museum yet?
I do have the museum, I'm just not sure where to put it. Like, I'm gonna move it, and there goes the grandfather
you're gonna move it. Okay,
club.
I was like, wait.
Yeah, no, I don't even know how many hours I'm at. It's a problem. But anyway, I've also been playing Pokemon Sword and Shield, the Isle of Armor DLC. And you can read my review, which should be up by the time this podcast goes live. And
it'll be up tomorrow?
Mm-hmm, and I'm hoping to have it up tomorrow, cool. So heck yeah.
Yes.
But I just want to say, I've talked about it a little bit here and there on other shows and stuff, but the music is quite the banger. I don't know if you guys have heard the music.
Yeah. What's up with that?
It's interesting because when I first heard it at a preview, I heard it in a preview context, and I was kind of like, this traditionally, stereotypically Asian tune, perhaps is. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that. And then I was like, well, Japanese people did write the music, so I can't really find fault with that. And it does fit like the kind of cheesy martial arts movie kind of story. And I mean cheesy in a good way. Like, it is very much like, we're going to be the best, and we're at the dojo, and there's a rivalry. So,
and I love that.
Yeah. Oh, Erroll, what were you saying?
I love that it's like a very kung fu movie, and I actually was writing an article, I came out last week about how kaiju films have kind of inspired a lot of Pokemon designs since before the games even came out. Like the initial, I don't know if you've seen the picture that was in. I think it was in the Satoshi Tajiri manga.
I have, because I own the manga.
Yeah, the one with Godzillante and Gorilimo, the Godzilla-like thing. That's inspired by Godzilla vs. King Kong. And then if you look at certain Pokemon and how certain Pokemon are designed, especially the ones that don't look like animals as much, it's like, whoa. Like, Nidoking specifically looks like a Godzilla monster called Baragon. A lot.
Yeah.
And then there was also an interview with, I think, Satoshi Tajiri, and he was saying how Ultra 7 inspired the concept of, summoning, or not really summoning, but, throwing Pokemon out of the Pokeball, which it's essentially summoning, but,
Right.
Yeah, he was saying how Ultra 7 inspired that, and I was like, wow, this... And I went all the way to, how Urshifu's design shares a lot of similarities with a lot of more modern Ultraman designs.
That's fascinating.
And how Gigantamax, the animation is kind of almost the same as how Ultraman transformed. It does that 3-stage grow instead of just a constant expansion.
Right.
It's So yeah, that was just a really cool thing I read.
That is really cool. That's really good context as someone who like doesn't know a lot about kaiju or Ultraman. Like that is super interesting.
Oh yeah, no, I've been getting into it.
So a fun fact about that though is the German localization team for Pokemon. I don't know if you read this. This was like a popular thread a little while ago. They're really big Godzilla fans, and Larvesta. I think it's Larvesta. The German name is Ramoth because they couldn't do Mothra, but they wanted it to be Mothra.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I need to add that. I'm always like updating it with new info.
Yeah, and
so I forgot about that. But yeah, that's
the German localization team for Pokemon is like super good. The names are really top notch. Yeah, that's what I have been up to.
Okay.
All right. I guess I'll go next. I already briefly mentioned Pokemon. I really like exploring the island. Like, that was the first thing I did rather than do the story, as I was just, like, biking around looking at everything.
Me too.
I was like, oh, there's a werelord over there. And, like, oh, God, a Sharpedo.
They're so aggressive.
And then I was like, oh, I can put my shiny Sharpedo from Pokemon Sun in here now. And then, I don't know, just exploring it, I'm like, this is what the wild area, like, this is a good step in the right direction for, like, improving the wild area. Mm-hmm. Because, like, otherwise it's, like, it's weird, because I like how it's, like, the different environments are a little more separated now than in the main wild area, where, like, oh, there's a sandstorm happening here, and it's snowing right over here next to it, and it's, like, all kind of weird. But otherwise, I've also been playing a little bit more Xenoblade Definitive Edition, which I was actually comparing and contrasting that with how with a friend of mine, with how in Sword and Shield, like, it has that limit where you can't catch higher level Pokemon at certain points in the wild area, and but you, even if you can, like, totally defeat them. But in Xenoblade, you'll be walking around a level 25 area and, like, doing the story stuff, and then you'll see a lake with, like, a bunch of level 80 and 90 monsters, and you're like, oh, I gotta avoid that.
Yeah, they will wreck you. I remember that from playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's even in the starting area, and you're confronted with these absurdly strong enemy types, and you do not want to mess with them. Just stick to leveling up.
Yeah. And then I actually just started playing a little before the Mr. Driller Drill Land, the demo of it, because I was really excited for that, because I really like Mr. Driller is, like, one of those retro games I like really enjoy playing. Mm-hmm. So I was just trying out the demo, and you can play as some different characters, and I'm still getting used to controls and how everything works, because I've never been good at Mr. Driller, and the last time I played it I was very little. So, but yeah, that's about it. I've been playing a lot of Last of Us Part 2, but that's also not a Japanese game.
Well,
also, if you want to check a good review on that, you can check out GameSpot.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Jason.
I have been playing Animal Crossing New Horizon again. All thanks to the trailer that dropped today. And I'm super excited to finally be able to go out of bounds and go swimming. And I showed my girlfriend the trailer, and she was so ecstatic, because the first time she played it and she saw that it was a beach, she was wondering, like, okay, why can I not go into the water? What kind of crap is this? I'm like, I don't know. I don't make the game, so I can't really tell you, but now it's here. So she's super happy with that. I'm hoping to progress enough so that I can unlock a few stuff for her. Besides that, I've been playing Dragon Quest XI-S. Yeah, I've gotten into a bit of a groove with it, because I think it was last week when I said I wasn't really feeling it. Maybe just JRPG fatigue, but I like it a lot, and I've started to appreciate what it's trying to do and how the battle system works. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I am sorry to report that I have not been playing Pokemon the expansion pass yet, and that's super embarrassing when you have the two biggest Pokemon fans on the podcast with you. But soon, one day after I have finished one or two other JRPGs on my list, I promise. So
it'll be there for you. It'll be waiting for you.
Yeah, definitely.
I forgot to mention Animal Crossing. I've just been having to check every once in a while because I haven't been playing it that often. I was like, okay, I really hope none of the neighbors moved. And then I checked like yesterday, and I'm like, okay, nobody moved.
I
just get scared.
Apparently, they don't do that anymore. Villagers won't move out without asking you first.
Oh,
yeah.
So you don't have to worry.
Okay, cool. No, because a character did ask me when I was there, and I was like, no, don't move. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, I happen to have the same thing. I wasn't playing for
good.
I think 2 or 3 weeks. So I also had a lot of weeds to clean up. And everyone was like, hey, welcome back. Did you have a nice vacation? And one of them was asking, hey, I've been thinking, maybe I need a change of scenery. And I was like, no, I just got back. Don't go. Don't leave me. So they stick around, thankfully. And that makes me really happy.
Yeah. The ones I was like really worried about are the elephant ones, because elephants are my favorite animal, and I have 2 of them on my island so far. I think they're the third one, like the teapot one. I forgot her name though. But I was like, don't move, like please don't ask. I was like, okay, we're good.
Tia? Is that her name?
Yeah, I think it's Tia.
Yeah.
I don't have her yet, but yeah, those are like my favorite neighbors because they're elephants.
They're so cute.
All right. So moving on from that, we're gonna do the our little In From Japan J-List section where we talk about recent video game related movie and TV news. And I was like, yesterday I was like, oh yeah, we don't have that much this week for that. And I was like, oh. So this first one, it's gonna seem not video game related, but I have a thing that makes it like that.
Okay, let's see how you stretch this one.
So Tokushoutsu, who has been releasing different Kamen Rider series with official English subtitles, which we haven't gotten in a long time, until recently. They're doing they're going to be subbing the first officially English subtitled Kamen Rider crossover movie. I don't know that much Japanese, so I don't know if it's Heisei or Heisei. It's Heisei, okay. Heisei Generations Forever film next month. And so it's a bunch of Kamen Riders from a bunch of different series. One of the series in particular, Kamen Rider X-Aid, their video... No, not their video. I'm getting my words all mixed up. Their motif is video games. So, like, their different forms are... like based on different video game tropes or genres. So there's one that I saw that's like a zombie form the main rider has, and it's just stuff like that. So that's how it's connected to video games.
Wow.
I'll allow it. That was a good connection. I don't think that was a stretch at all, actually.
It's fine.
I try to get Toku in here whenever I can because I mean, it's a Japan-focused podcast.
Sure.
It works. And then next we have The World Ends With You, the animation announced. Not revealed yet. It's going to be revealed during Anime Expo Light. So this is... Square Enix announced... Details will be announced at Anime Expo Light 2020 on July 3rd at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll be able to watch it on YouTube and Twitch. Additionally, Square Enix has launched a teaser website and Twitter account that will count down to the July 3rd broadcast. So we don't know if this will be like an anime version of the game, or like an anime sequel to the game, or possibly an anime that connects to a future sequel. We just know that it's happening.
If I'd had to wager a guess going by the key art, I'd say it's an adaptation of the first game, or the only game so far.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously, it's not what everybody wants, but it's still cool that they're doing something
Yeah.
with it.
Maybe gearing up for a sequel. Maybe? Question mark?
Yeah. The next thing, and this was from this morning, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, a Cyberpunk 2077 anime announced.
From Studio Trigger, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Studio Trigger, who's awesome. I was also going to connect that to Tokusatsu, because they did the Gridman anime, which is one of my favorite animes ever.
This was the first thing my boyfriend said to me this morning. Was Trigger's making a cyberpunk anime.
Nice.
And I was like, I didn't believe him. I was like, are you joking? I was like, what?
Yeah.
But I am so excited. I love Studio Trigger.
I was just scrolling on Twitter and I saw someone make a comparison between the key art for Edge Runners and Akira. So
Ooh.
I think you can see a nice parallel there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's.
But it's a ways off, right? It's dropping.
Yeah,
2022.
Yeah.
Or 22.
22.
Yeah, 2022 on Netflix.
Oh, the wait is gonna be agonizing.
But I heard somebody say maybe that's. I forgot who it was. I was watching somebody do a react to it, and they were like, maybe that's when around the time the multiplayer will be ready too. Because I remember they're doing multiplayer separately from the main game. It's gonna take a bit longer.
And it could also be that only the Netflix release will be 2022 and the Japan release will be a year earlier, because Netflix has kind of a delayed scheduling when it comes to dropping anime.
That's true.
So,
That is true.
I guess we'll have to see.
But is it a Netflix original, or is it
That
being produced elsewhere in conjunction with Netflix for syndication?
That's a good question.
Because that would be the difference. If it's a Netflix original, then it's just 2022.
Yeah. I haven't seen any information on that specifically.
Yeah, so we'll find out, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It seems like a little bit far
whole-
out from the game release,
Yeah.
which is interesting too. But I mean, I'm going to watch it regardless. Because, so that none of those facts is going to change it for me. But I am very curious, the timing, who's actually producing and financing it. But yeah.
I mean, it's a ginormous RPG, so we'll probably be still playing it until 2022. So.
God, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people are still playing Witcher 3, and that's gonna get an anime thing soon.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, not soon, but it's getting one, definitely.
It's getting one, yeah. And then Ninjala released, and they have a cartoon that's about the character Van or Vaughn. I don't know how to. I don't know the character, but they have a short little cartoon, and that's, I guess, the first part of probably a multi-episode series. So that's nice. That's a cute little cartoon. And then, okay, so next is the recommended content. So I just kind of go down a list of interesting content from the past week. We have the best anime streaming service in 2020 by Jordan Ramey from GameSpot.
Woo!
Which has to do with what we just talked about. Wild Arms, creating emotional connection through unforgettable songs by Joel Couture, Silicon Era. Acts of the Blood God, remembering the Wonder Swan by US Gamer. Former Square Enix president Yoichi Wada on the merger between longtime rival companies by Sato over at Silicon Era. It's time to rank Pokemon's main rivals, and no, Blue isn't number one by Joel Franey over at US Gamer. This list, I disagreed with a lot, but that's why I put it here, because I thought it was interesting because of how...
Okay.
Silver was high on the list, so that's what mattered to me. Is that Silver was number 2.
Silver's
number
my
one.
number 1. Will always be
Yeah, he's my number one too. Virtual high five. I forgot they put number 1 as Hop.
Hop?
Which their reasoning was a little different than you would think.
I mean,
it was saying
Hop is 5 fine.
Huh.
Interesting.
They talk about like his arc and like how he is, and like why they say that, and it's pretty interesting.
Huh. I have no words. Huh.
Yeah, I suggest you read it. That's why. Yeah, that's why I added it.
So I'm skimming through it, and I think one of the things that does stand out is that because of the nature of Hop's animations, there is more nuance to his character. Like when you beat Hop and he like first kind of shakes with frustration, and then he accepts his defeat. I think that's a really good detail about him. I still love Silver because he's an absolute total dick. But
yeah, until the end.
But that's just me. I like it when my rival's like, "All right, twerp." Like, that's the energy.
Smell you later.
Yeah, exactly. But I respect it. I respect the list.
Okay.
It's like I remember reading like when was it when Sun and Moon came out, or was it when Sword and Shield came out? I forgot which, but people were like, no, the reason the rivals are like this now is because you're the rival now. And I was like,
whoa.
Oh. Galaxy brain.
Yeah. Like, you're the jerk. It's like, man, what?
Hey.
And we also have, moving on, we have Kubfu is the star of Pokemon Sword and Shield's new expansion by Ari Notice over at Kotaku, and Pokemon Urshifu Guide, How to Evolve Kubfu and Which Evolution is Better by, Kallie, you would probably know how to pronounce
Kevin
his name better than
Knazevic.
Ah, nice.
Okay.
This one was fun
Over at
because
GameSpot.
Kevin and I were chatting about the evolutions a little bit, and like just a quick tangent on that, like single strike style is the one that I went with because I thought I just love dark types. That was really my
Me too.
my main, and also the fighting stance was most similar to my style of martial arts, so I went with that. But I didn't realize until I read this article by Kevin when before it was published, we do a lot of peer editing at GameSpot, and he pointed out that it has a 4 times weakness to fairy, and I was like, no.
Yeah, that's.
I messaged him and I was like, you left out the immunity to psychic, and he was like, yo. So we had so I think single strike style Urshifu is more interesting because you do have that dimension of the psychic resistance, not even resistance, immunity. You just have to be really careful around fairies, so that's why I ultimately went with it.
And the other thing is, Dark is weak against fighting, so when you're fighting Musters Urshifu, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Because I didn't keep Aerial Ace, and I was like, I should have kept Aerial Ace, but then I was like, do I have anything that I can use? And I was like, oh, I can use just Zen Headbutt, whatever. Because I'm not a competitive person, so like, I'm just like, okay, type weaknesses, okay, I have something, alright, as long as I have something, it's good. And I like I said before with the Ultraman designs, the single strike Urshifu, he shares his design elements with a lot of the dark Ultramen who have kind of a black and red color scheme with more jagged lines on their bodies. So that's another reason I chose that one.
Oh, its signature move is also, it's a single hit, whereas the Rapid Strike style is a multi-hit, and multi-hit moves, I'm just too impatient for that. But yeah.
Wow. Who knew that Pokemon had so much depth?
Me.
Yeah,
right,
definitely you.
Let's move on to the news rundown. We'll let our Shinigami and bearer of bad news, Jason, take this one article we have. Yeah,
insert slashing sound. This one really hits close to home because I'm a really big fan of the franchise. Tales of Arise delayed past 2020. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Bandai Namco has delayed Tales of Arise from its previously planned 2020 release window to an unannounced release window. In a message, producer Yusuke Tomizawa said that while the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has affected some aspects of development, the team has done its best to adapt but we'll need more time to, quote, to achieve the quality and provide the gorgeous experience we envision for our players. Tales of Arise is planned for release for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC via Steam. If you click on the article, you can read the full message. This really sucks because I just wrote something about Tales of Arise and we were gonna publish it tomorrow. So now I have to rethink this. But yay, I guess. They'll have more time to work on this and possibly, maybe even simultaneously release it on the upcoming generation of consoles. So yay. Or maybe even a Switch port. Yay, because it's on Unreal Engine, and Unreal Engine is pretty malleable from what I've seen so far. And I just love Tales, and I really want Tales. Just give me Tales, guys. Just give me Tales.
I was actually talking about this game with a friend last night because we were kind of going over like game releases this year because everything keeps like switching around and it can be hard to keep track of like certain things. So he was asking me like, wait, that comes out that soon? Like not Tales of Arise, but I'm telling him like, yeah, dude, Deadly Premonition 2 comes out in like 2 weeks. He was like, wait, what?
I mean, it also makes sense because the Tales of Festival got also delayed till next year.
Yeah.
So I guess they just didn't want to pile all the bad news into one announcement. But I'll take a port. I'll take a remaster of an older game. I'm not picky. Just give me something.
Berseria for
Maybe,
Switch?
Yeah.
All right. So, I guess Jason, you're taking the next story too.
That was the only bad news of the week. So in other news, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Atlas asks streamers to please avoid sharing Persona 4 Golden spoilers. This is by Jenny Lada for Silicon Era. What's old is new again. In June 2020, Atlas shocked the internet by shadow dropping a Persona 4 Golden PC port onto Steam. But while Atlas is now confirming it has been a success, something obvious by its placement on the charts and concurrent player counts, it is also asking something else of players. A message has been shared on Twitter asking people to help label or avoid Persona 4 Golden spoilers. You can check the full statement in the article. But yeah, this is something that keeps popping up every now and then when a new remaster comes to whatever platform, that we please be mindful of spoilers. We had it more recently with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and seeing how that game ended, that totally was warranted, because whoa, that was a roller coaster. And Persona 4 is so dependent on its twists and turns that I can really understand why we're supposed to give newer players the space to experience this for themselves. Are you gonna play it, or have you played it, Erroll?
I'll play it at some point. The stuff I've heard about the new character that they added, Marie, sounds like she was a very unnecessary addition, and it sounds like they did some stuff with the characters that weren't great. So like people were like, it might have been Jean-Luc from GameSpot, and he was like, well, if it's on PC, at least like eventually people could mod the problematic elements out of it.
Oh, I think
and I'm like, that's true.
I think the problematic elements are more related to other characters. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, some elements could probably be edited.
Yeah, but who's to say? Are you a big Persona fan?
Which at least improved
it. Are you a big Persona fan, Kallie?
I've only ever started Persona games. I've never finished one.
I don't blame you. They're pretty.
That is.
Yeah.
It's weird because a lot of people are surprised to hear this about me. You know, I play a lot of Japanese games. I watch Japanese media, but really like hardcore JRPGs tend to lose me. I get really overwhelmed with them, and so Persona 5, I started that game several times, and I just had I was so overwhelmed. Persona 4 Golden I started, and I wasn't overwhelmed as much by that one. It was more a factor of how busy I was when I played it, or when I tried to play it. So it's not that I have anything, like, I'm not anti-Persona or anything. I need to actually sit down and play it. And P4G has the advantage of being on a portable system, which I am so much more likely to play a game if it is portable. This is just, I know this about myself. I don't even know why exactly, but that's just how I am. And I'd probably have given Persona 5 more of a shot if it were on Switch. Okay. I am one of those people that's like, bring it to Switch. So, yeah. That's where I'm at with Persona.
I agree.
Well, Erroll and I were talking before we started recording that maybe Atlas is working on a Persona event, because all signs point to that.
All the surveys.
Yeah, the surveys, and Persona 3 being so fragmented with 3 different versions that maybe they'll make a definitive edition, and Persona 5 Scramble still waiting to be released. So maybe the Switch announcement is incoming. Who knows?
I gotta hope.
Yeah. Space Invaders is for you, Hero.
Oh, right. I was like trying to think of what else to say, and I was like, wait. Yeah. So this is oh man, so this is from Sawaramoto over at Gamatsu. I think most of the stories have been.
It's the.
Oh, there's the clock.
Yeah.
It's Space Invaders time. Space Invaders Invincible Collection coming west. So we talked about this. I feel like we talked about this on like the first podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty early
on. And now we're finally getting a Western release. So Strictly Limited Games will release Space Invaders Invincible Collection for Switch in the West, the publisher announced. Physical editions of the game will be available exclusively via the Strictly Limited Game Store, with pre-orders opening on June 28th. I already went over like the collection. It has a bunch of different Space Invaders games. It also has Arkanoid versus Space Invaders, Space Cyclone, and Lunar Rescue. And then the collector's edition has the soundtrack. Oh, there's going to be a collector's edition, I guess. We're getting a collector's edition. Or at least Europe is. With soundtrack, an arcade book, a sticker sheet, 4 instruction cards, 6 flyers, a pin, 4 acrylic art cards, arcade PCB box, and a collector's box with a magnetic latch.
Yay.
And there's even an Ultra edition, which also comes with a board game and more special items. These collector's editions are getting crazy. I mean, did you guys see? I mean, Kallie, did you see the Captain Tsubasa, like the biggest edition in Europe, and it comes with a foosball table?
No, I did not see that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it comes with like a Captain Tsubasa action figure, some art cards, some other doodads, and a full foosball table.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
And a customized jersey.
I'm definitely not getting that.
But it's only in Europe, and we're actually getting a Captain Tsubasa game in the West for once, but we're getting pre-order DLC. We're not getting anything, not even the art card. And I'm like, man.
Oh well.
But yeah, Space Invaders. Are you a fan of Space Invaders, Kallie?
No, I was always such a Galaga person, so I'm very dedicated to Galaga.
That's kind of why I brought it up.
So I don't have anything against Space Invaders, but Galaga has my whole heart. So
does Galaga have? Because have you ever seen those like Space Invaders, like arcade machines where there's like a projector and you sit in a chair and you have like Does Galaga have that?
I don't
or is
think
it just Space
so.
Invaders?
I have seen the Space Invaders ones. I've only seen that in Japan, but
Oh, I saw that here.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I haven't seen anything like that for Galaga. They instead of like really going in on Galaga, they also made like Galaxian, and there's other like there's other iterations. So maybe that's where the energy went into. I don't know enough about the history of Galaga, unfortunately.
Okay.
Jason,
yes.
This is you.
New report says Nintendo is cooling on mobile game. This is by Matthew Olson for US Gamer. A few years ago, it looked like mobile games could be the next big frontier for Nintendo, bringing the company's formidable franchises and design know-how to a widespread and lucrative market. Now, with the Switch 3 years into a life cycle that's already proven far more successful than its predecessor, it looks like Nintendo's reining in its mobile plans. The quote starts, "We are not necessarily looking to continue releasing many new applications for the mobile market," end quote, says Nintendo President Shuntaro Kurokawa, quoted in a Bloomberg piece analyzing the company's changing stance on mobile. Furukawa's comments came in May, at a time where Nintendo would have already seen evidence of its mobile business slipping. Data collected by Sensor Tower, a mobile app analytics firm, shows Regalia Lost, Super Mario Run, and Fire Emblem Heroes revenues trending downwards year over year from February through May. Other prominent mobile titles thrived during that same time, perhaps due to bumps in player onboarding and retention due to COVID-19 stay-at-home orders. So this is really interesting because I hope it doesn't signal that Nintendo is going to go back to its arrogant streak and say, okay, we don't need mobile. Mobile is not a legitimate avenue for mobile games, so we're not going to give it the time of day. I hope it's not a sign of that. On the other hand, Nintendo never really dove into the mobile market as other companies did, because when you think about Regalia Lost and Fire Emblem Heroes, they are much more forgiving with their gacha rates in comparison to other mobile games. So on the one hand, you understand why they're not making as much money as their competitors, and on the other hand, you're kind of baffled and wondering why they're not doing something else. But I digress. They're probably pretty happy with their Switch success. Yeah.
I thought something else was going to say. I was like,
I know. I'm like, I don't want to interrupt, so I'm just waiting.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm like, I don't want to either. So it's like,
have any of you played any of these mobile games? Because I used to be really big into Regalia Lost and Fire Emblem Heroes.
I mean, don't forget
Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, Dr. Mario, Super Mario Run, Mario Kart World Tour. I think that's all of them, unless I'm missing
Magikarp
one.
Jump.
Magikarp Jump.
There were quite a few Pokemon ones, but I guess that's a little bit. It's adjacent to.
Yeah, it's
Nintendo
Pokemon Company more than Nintendo.
Yeah, it's weird. Nintendo adjacent.
Yeah, I liked Fire Emblem Heroes well enough, like for a mobile game. It was really nice, and I feel like a lot of the mobile games that Nintendo has put out have been like appetizers for the main event on Switch, and maybe that's where they fall short. But I think Pocket Camp is an example of, like, I played it and I definitely felt like, oh, I just want to play a quote-unquote real Animal Crossing game. But I know there are people who really get into Pocket Camp, and part of the reason for that is because the furniture is like top notch. Like, there's excellent furniture in Pocket Camp, and some of the stuff has been added to New Horizons since, like some of the wedding furniture was in Pocket Camp, and that gives me hope because there's some really cute things, and like just like. I feel like the furniture options we have now in New Horizons can be a little bit on the plain side. So with the summer update that adds swimming, like we're getting mermaid furniture, for example, and that's a little bit more in the like style of some of the stuff you see in Pocket Camp. So I will give Pocket Camp that, but I would say that the mobile stuff really seems like these kind of in between, like shortstop kind of deals. While you're waiting for the Switch version of that franchise. At least that's how I felt.
Yeah, that's what I would say too. It's like stuff to tide you over while they're working on the actual like full experience. Like not that the mobile games aren't like a full experience, but like you know what I mean. Like the actual...
That's also definitely been their philosophy. They wanted the mobile experiences to be a gateway to like console experiences. So I guess in some respects that worked, but in others they failed to really give it a try. But at the same time, it's really commendable that the way they conducted their mobile games seemed a lot fairer when it came to pricing and spending. They didn't want to come across as greedy, so you really couldn't go ham with spending in a Nintendo mobile game. So I guess that at least is commendable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up is Bubble Bobble.
Some news I'm really excited about. Bubble Bobble 4. Oh man, we keep forgetting the. Most of these stories are from Gamatsu or Siliconera. We keep forgetting to mention the. I should have started that earlier. The authors and the website. This is from Sal Romano over at Gamatsu. Bubble Bobble 4 Friends for PS4 launches in November in the West alongside Switch update. Enhanced port also due out in Japan in November. So in Games and Strictly Limited Games will release the PlayStation 4 version of Bubble Bobble 4 Friends, officially titled Bubble Bobble 4 Friends, The Baron is Back. That's a lot of B's. In North America and Europe, alongside its Japanese release in November, developer Taito announced. Bubble Bobble 4 Friends, The Baron is Back includes 100 new stages and the return of enemy character Baron von Blubba, which is the ghost whale with the like pink glowing eye, in dedicated stages. The Switch version of Bubble Bobble 4 Friends will receive a free update that adds this content alongside the release of the PS4 version. So I talked about this a while ago because I played the regular mode and beat it, and I'm a huge... Bubble Bobble is probably like my favorite retro game. Like, you know, back in the age of... I don't know what year Galaga came out, so I don't know how much older.
70s, I think. 70s
okay,
or
so
early
Galaga's
80s.
older.
I'm looking it up.
But Bubble Bobble came out 1980 something. But like, that's my favorite game from that era.
Okay, Galaga is from 1981.
81.
I think Bubble Bobble, the arcade version, might be from 83.
Definitely an old game. Very old game.
Yeah, and like, it was really fun to finally see a new Bubble Bobble game after a long time. I think 8 years? I've said it on the podcast before, but it's been a while. And the last one, I think, was a mobile game. And then we finally got the original Bubble Bobble for Switch, which I was wondering why it like never came to Switch, because you know Arcade Archive, they have it on other platforms and they have other games on Switch, but they never had Bubble Bobble specifically. So I'm just glad there's a way to play the original Bubble Bobble on Switch. And then related to that, Puzzle Bobble VR announced, so I guess I have to get a VR headset now. A Puzzle Bobble virtual reality game is currently in development for Oculus Quest at Sprint Vector Studio Servios, Taito announced. The new title will star Bub, main character of Bubble Bobble, in a new VR version of the puzzle game Puzzle Bobble, also known as Bust-A-Move. Taito's Yuichi Toyama said in a video message, "You'll be able to enjoy the familiar, lovable world of Puzzle Bobble in 3D. This title is
Don't hurt
scheduled
yourself.
to feature new tracks from Taito's sound team Zuntata." Because Bubble Bobble wasn't on Switch, I started playing Puzzle Bobble 2 specifically, and got really into that for a while. And I would play it while I was on the trolley going to my former day job, and that was just a really fun little game to play on my commute, because I didn't really have to. I didn't feel like I had to like. Well, not that I didn't have to focus, but it was just kind of there was like a relaxing element to it. All right. Oh, I forgot I was taking the next one too. My bad. Why is too many things I like in particular are being announced. Slow down. This is again from Sao Romano Akamatsu. Earth Defense Force 6 announced, due out 2021 in Japan. D3 publisher and developer Sandlot have announced Earth Defense Force 6. It will launch in 2021 in Japan. Platforms were not announced, but PlayStation Blog Japan covered the announcement. There's a whole summary. It's 2024. Humanity won the war against unknown invaders that had lasted 2 years. Primers left and Silence returned to Earth. However, the total human population was reduced to 10%. Civilization on the verge of collapse. A lot of tongue twisters.
Tongue twisters.
Not really, but and those who survived continue to work hard towards reconstruction. 3 years later, in 2027, humanity faced another major problem. Many of the aliens, colonists that the primers had deployed into battle were left behind on Earth. The colonists formed groups and occupied cities to survive. They have settled on Earth. Humanity and the aliens frequently collided, and through repeated quarrels, both sides faced damages. The two races living on Earth grew tired of each other and the remaining threat. But there was a more serious problem. The invaders continued to breathe on Earth. Oh, so it's like they have to team up. That's cool. It's cool that there's like a kind of new story to that. I played a lot of EDF Iron Rain, which was really cool. It's a little different than traditional EDF titles. I'm not sure how. And I'll be getting it on PC because some of my friends want to play it together. But so you're mostly fighting giant insects, but then in one part, you basically fight against kaiju. There's like a Godzilla looking at type enemy, one enemy that looks like a straight out of Pacific Rim. You have one of the classes. They basically have the Attack on Titan. What do you call it?
The Titans?
No, there's a class. They have the I forgot what the gear thing, the things that let them swing around. Yeah,
anti-gravitational gear.
Yeah, so you can do that. You can basically do Attack on Titan while fighting Godzilla. And also,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like that. It's basically like that. And you can do that. That same class has the ability to summon certain giant insects to help them. So you can do that, and then summon a giant spider, and then ride a giant spider while fighting a Godzilla-like monster.
That is a lot.
Yeah. So, like, I've had a lot of fun with that one. And also, there's a lot of cool customization. And I made my my character kind of look as close to a Power Ranger as possible.
Nice. On brand.
Very on brand.
Yeah. So it's just all mixed together. And then another Earth Defense Force game, World Brothers, was announced. And this one looks it's blocky, kind of that Minecraft blocky style. I don't know if it's a Minecraft style. It's that specific 3D pixel style. Again, this is from Sao Romano over at Gamatsu. D3 publisher and developers Sandlot and Yuks have announced Earth Defense Force World Brothers for PS4 and Switch. It will launch in 2020 in Japan. And it's a new battlefield for Earth Defense Force appears. The setting, a square Earth. Its name, the round Earth has become square, and there's an exclamation point and a question mark.
That is wow.
Digivox Earth Defense Force World Brothers. That's the full title.
Gosh.
So
that is the most Erroll game ever.
It's EDF, but it's in a different. It's in a different style.
Yeah. Now they only need Mon collecting, and you'd be set for life.
Oh my god! Don't tease me. Don't even joke about that.
Okay. Next up, we have Samurai Showdown DLC character Warden from For Honor. Launches June 24th. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Right? Talk about the most out of left field news. SNK announced Samurai Showdown downloadable content character Warden from Ubisoft's For Honor during the New Game Plus Expo livestream. It will launch on June 24th. Warden will be available as an individual purchase for $5.99, as well as with Season Pass 2 for $19.99. Season Pass 2 also includes Mina Majikina, Sogetsu Kazama, and Iroha, who are all available now. Yay. It mixes things up.
It's more the For Honor thing. That's why I added it.
Yeah, because it's definitely out there. Does that mean any Samurai Showdown characters are going to make their way over to For Honor? Fingers crossed. Hopefully.
Huh. Yeah, maybe.
Possibly.
Hopefully.
I just like crossover when stuff cross over, especially when it's like stuff you don't expect.
Right.
This is definitely out of left field because I don't remember Ubisoft really partnering up with Japanese companies that much, besides Nintendo.
I mean, they did make that. What about when they made that Naruto game?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, I really love that game.
I forgot about that.
We've talked about that, Jason. Come on.
One of my favorite games. Memories. Okay, next up.
It's me. So, once again from Gamatsu. The reason we use Gamatsu and Siliconera so much is because they usually have the most of the Japan game-related news.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the
because not
granular,
every site covers everything.
Yeah.
So, Fallen Legion Revenants announced for PS4 and Switch, sequel to Sins of an Empire and Flames of Rebellion. Publisher NIS America and developer Yummy Yummy Tummy announced Fallen Legion Revenants for PlayStation 4 and Switch during the New Game Plus Expo livestream. It will launch in 2021. It is a sequel to the duology Fallen Legion Sins of an Empire and Fallen Legion Flames of Rebellion. Pre-orders for a $74.99 limited edition are available now at the NIS America online store for PS4 and Switch, and includes the Vanguard edition of the game, Songs for a Fallen World digital soundtrack with voucher, Lucian's Lost Ledger manual art book, Rowena's Battle Atlas hardcover art book, exemplar information card, set of 3 double-sided art cards, Dealt Fate card deck, Pump Key rubber keychain, which Pump Key is some kind of character, and a collector's box. This is cool news to me because I played the first Fall. I think it was Sins of an Empire, and I wrote about it for Game Skinny when it first came out. It plays a lot like a Valkyrie Profile or Indivisible. It's that style of gameplay. Unlike Indivisible, it doesn't have platforming, so it's just kind of like battle, okay, done, and you're on a map, and you do a battle, and then you go to the next one.
Ah. It kind of reminds.
Maybe this one will be.
It kind of reminds me of Grand Kingdom. Was also a side-scrolling tactical RPG, which was kind of cool. So yay for more. And I just read up on who the developers were, and it seems that they're from Indonesia, which is really cool. Which really speaks to me because I'm part Indonesian. So yay, my people.
And then I just thought this was a fast. I was like, oh, that's getting a sequel already, because I think the first one came out in 2018.
Yeah, it seems about right.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. It's getting a sequel already. Like,
yeah. Okay. Next up, we have King of Fighters R2
for the next couple stories.
coming to Switch in July. Another Neo Geo Pocket Color port for Switch. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. SNK will release King of Fighters R2 for Switch via the Nintendo eShop in July for $7.99. The company announced during the New Game Plus Expo livestream. King of Fighters R2 first launched for Neo Geo Pocket Color in March 1999 in Japan, followed by April in North America and October in Europe. If you click on the article, there's an overview and a trailer on the game and some gameplay footage, which is really nice that they're bringing this to Switch. I was kind of hoping that the main King of Fighters series would be coming to Switch, but that's just me, I guess.
So I got confused when this was originally announced because it said like Neo Geo Pocket Color Collection, and I didn't realize this was like an ongoing collection. I thought they were doing like a full Neo Geo Pocket Color Collection for Switch, and I was like, cool. And then I read like the article after that announcement. I was like, oh, still cool, but not what I thought it was.
Have any of you ever played a Neo Geo Pocket, or was that just me?
I have a friend who is like a friend of mine. He has a small local podcast here, and he works at a retro video game store, and he's a real big fan of it.
I have not.
It's very odd but very fun. But yeah, it didn't really have that much of a shelf life, so it's good to see that their game still found a home on Switch.
Yeah.
Okay. Next story is The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4. I always get confused with Trails and Trials. For PS4, and it launches on October 27th in the West. This is also by Sal Romano for Gamatsu.
This dude does everything. We need to get him on the podcast if we can.
The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4 will launch for PlayStation 4 on October 27th in North America and Europe, and November 3rd in Australia and New Zealand. Publisher NIS America announced during the New Game Plus Expo livestream. The Switch and PC, which means Steam and GOG, versions will follow in 2021. You can click on the article for more details. This is really cool, but I also would like to add that Part 1 and 2 still aren't on Switch, so what gives NIS? Huh?
Seriously.
Yeah. Also of note, the next installment of the Legend of Heroes series, Hajime no Kiseki, was also announced today, I guess, and it's coming later this year, but only in Japan for now. So
yeah, I was I think I mentioned this before, but I was talking to like Michael Hyam about the demo of I think it was Trails of Cold Steel 3, the demo that's on PS4, and he was saying something about it on Twitter, and I I guess I'll try this, and and he's like, oh snap, and he said like something about how good it was, and I'm like, what about but the cutscenes are so long, and he was just like, in all caps, he was just like, listen.
Yep, that sounds like Michael.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, that's like the one thing that's like, oh, why are these cutscenes so long?
It's a JRPG.
I like
what
the
did you
gameplay.
expect?
I don't know. There are other JRPGs where the cutscenes aren't that long.
Oh well.
This next story, I think we should have Kallie take this one.
Yeah.
Can I?
It's yours. All yours.
Of course.
Yay. So, the Danganronpa 10th anniversary recently happened, and there was a video message from creator Kazutaka Kodaka. This is, again, Sal Romano from Gamatsu. Basically, Kodaka is great, and I interviewed him once, and he described his fans as nakama, which, if you're familiar with that Japanese word, it's sort of like comrade. It's like more than just a acquaintance or friend. It's like we are like soul brothers.
Yeah.
And the thing about Danganronpa is he just was like, I made a game that I wanted to make and people liked it. So in the 10th anniversary video, Kodaka mentions that, he says 99% of my Instagram followers are from outside Japan. Honestly, I rely on my international fans. Someday I'll learn English and move abroad. Hope to see you then. And this whole video was to commemorate the 10th anniversary, and to celebrate the 10th anniversary, they released Danganronpa on smartphones, which I haven't actually tried yet, but I'm curious to see how it plays. The smartphone interface probably makes sense for the trials, so
yeah,
I'm interested. I've been wanting to replay. I want to replay Danganronpa all the time, so when I have time, I shall.
Do you think it'll come to the series will come to Switch at some point?
It hasn't. None of the Danganronpa stuff has been on Switch. I would love that. I would absolutely replay that whole series.
Because it was on Vita.
It was on Vita. I mean, all of them have been... Well, they were Sony exclusives at first, and then they were moved to Steam, and now we have Danganronpa on the smartphone, so... I could see more and more deals being brokered about Danganronpa. I would love that as an excuse to replay it. Smartphone's not enough of a push for me, but if it came to Switch, I'd be like, well, I could play, a chapter a day, and then I'd be done in 3 months, and it would be great. But I just want to take the time to say that you should play Danganronpa.
Yeah, it's
so good.
Really
I still
cool.
need to play the third one.
It's transformative.
Yeah, it's on sale now on PSN and Steam, I think. So get on it.
I think the one thing for me is like, I like Danganronpa, but a lot of people who like Danganronpa also like Zero Escape, and I actually like Zero Escape better, just personally. And it's just kind of like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know how much I'll like 3, but I should still play it. But it's not Zero Escape. It's like, but it's not. And then they founded that new studio together, so like they're just working on a bunch of games.
Yeah.
And then Death Come True, his new game just came out.
Yeah. I haven't played it yet. I'm really
earlier this week.
curious.
Well, I should also mention that
I'm excited.
that Kodaka said at the end of the video that there are more announcements left for the 10th anniversary. So,
yep.
Who knows if the Switch announcement
Switch
will be
port
one of
could
them?
happen.
Yeah.
I sure hope
Or
so.
Monokuma crossing over in a really random Western game.
Monokuma in Smash.
Monokuma is in Cyberpunk.
Monokuma in Smash.
Man.
Actually, that would work.
Monokuma in Smash.
Let's
would be
go.
So good.
Or that.
Let's go.
Does he have like? Is his Final Smash or whatever? Is it still called Final Smash?
Yeah, it is.
Or is it called something else?
Final
It would
Smash.
be
Okay.
an execution.
Yeah, I was just gonna
there
say
goes
that.
the clock again.
I was thinking.
Sorry.
I was thinking it could be kind of like the Mega Man one. It could still be an execution, but it could be like the Mega Man one. So all the Monokuma kids come out too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ah.
Good thinking.
Okay, we have Bloodstained up next.
Yeah. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 announced for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Inti Creates announced Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Oh, this is from Sal Romano over at Gamatsu again. Because this dude gets everything. PC via Steam during the New Game Plus Expo livestream. A release date was not announced. A sequel to the May 2018 release Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, the 2D side-scrolling action game follows a new story supervised by series creator Koji Igarashi and features 4 playable characters, 3 of which are new, each with a variety of gameplay options, abilities, and ways to complete the game's many stages. And one of the new characters is a corgi in a train mech.
Good.
I mean, the last time was what, a cat demon with.
What? There was no cat. What? I don't remember playing.
Weren't you playing against the giant cat in the main Bloodstained game?
Oh no! That wasn't in Curse of the Moon.
Ah.
That was in, oh god, it's right here. Ritual of the Night.
Okay.
Curse of the Moon is the one that's styled like the NES Castlevania.
Oh, the 8-bit remake.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting this to be 16-bit inspired, but I guess they're still sticking to the 8-bit.
I thought it was at first, but then as I kept watching the trailer, I was like, oh no, it's still like 8-bit-ish. It just looks really good.
Oh well.
Like the way they stylize it is really cool.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go over it because there's like a lot of stuff. The characters are Zangetsu from the other ones. Dominique. I don't know if she's ever been playable before, but she is also a character from the other ones. The other, what's the name? Robert.
That's a really basic name compared to Zangetsu and Dominique.
And the corgi in a train mech, his name is Hachi.
Aww.
Hachi is a Welsh corgi who follows Zangetsu in order to repay a debt. Hachi was used by an evil alchemist in an experiment to pilot a set of magic armor. Oh, it's magic train armor.
Huh.
With the highest HP and an iron shell, Hachi excels at traversing terrain and can traverse some obstacles without taking any damage. The suit of armor makes for a large target, however, and Hachi possesses no offensive sub-weapons, so certain enemies can pose a problem. He protect and attack.
Nice. Well, I think we found Callie's favorite character already.
Hachi, named undoubtedly named after Hachiko.
Yeah.
The Hachiko is a Shiba Inu, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, Hachi also means 8. But
that's true.
I imagine it's named after Hachiko.
Yeah.
Maybe the corgi is an homage to Cowboy Bebop, and the name is an homage to Hachiko.
Oh, nice.
The train kind of reminds me, because it's powered by magic, kind of reminds me of like Magitech armor from Final Fantasy.
Ooh.
Nice.
A lot going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm excited.
next up, we have Shiren the Wanderer, the Tower of Fortune, and the Dice of Fate Plus coming west for Switch PC in 2020. Also by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. At this point, we're going to have to start paying him, I guess. Dungeon RPG Shiren the Wanderer, the Tower of Fortune, and the Dice of Fate Plus, which was first announced for Switch in March in Japan, will launch for Switch and PC via Steam in North America and Europe in 2020. Publisher Spike Chunsoft announced during the New Game Plus Expo livestream. The Western release will not feature plus in the title. Wow, what a thing to put in the article. Okay. Well, it's definitely the longest title I've ever seen, I think. But click on the article for highlights, key features, and trailers. Okay.
The important thing, I don't know if we've ever gotten a Shiren the Wanderer game in the West before.
Yeah, we have plenty. I think
we have.
Yeah. I think.
I feel like we haven't gotten one in a long time, at least.
I'd say maybe in a couple of years, but we've definitely had them in the West. I remember Jared Petty being a big fan of them and always talking about them, so they're definitely in the West.
It is a mystery dungeon type game, right? That's the one I'm thinking.
I think it's more.
Well,
it says right here.
Jared Petty did live in Japan for many years.
Well, there is that, yeah.
He did.
Okay, I'm looking it up because I really want to be sure.
Yeah, it's a mystery dungeon. Yeah, it says part of the mystery dungeon series.
Let's see. Shiren the Wanderer. Okay, you have the first one. Yeah, the first one came to DS.
I'm hoping maybe we can get another Torneko mystery dungeon game, which is the Dragon Quest mystery dungeon.
Anything for more Dragon Quest content.
Yep. You know my brand.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have No More Heroes.
Yeah, this was hilarious.
I don't know how they did this or why they did this. Well, it's Suda 51, but still.
Because it was funny.
Okay.
Again, from Sarumato over at Gamatsu. No More Heroes 3 first gameplay, mostly covered by Suda51's face. 1.5 minutes of footage. Grasshopper Manufacturer debuted the first gameplay footage of No More Heroes 3 during the New Game Plus Expo livestream. The catch, however, is that the footage was debuted behind a message from series director Goichi Suda51 Suda, thus much of it is covered by his face. No More Heroes 3 is due out for Switch in 2020. And you can see the footage of that. The gameplay, even though you can't see some of it, doesn't look bad. Can't say it looks bad.
At least there's that.
Looks decent.
There's that. Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out more soon if it's gonna come out if it's still slated for this year.
I mean,
even if it gets delayed a little, I still think we'll find out more soon. Maybe some footage without his face covering it.
I mean, it's hilarious that they haven't dropped that footage, like something without his face in it. It's like, oh, he knows what he's doing. He definitely knows. Okay, next up,
it's part of the bit.
Yeah. Next up, we have Playism to publish Taso Machi. This is also by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Playism will publish Orbital Express developed adventure game Tasomachi for PC via Steam worldwide in 2021. The company announced during the New Game Plus Expo livestream. It will support English, Japanese, and Chinese subtitle options. And you can click on the article for an overview and a trailer. And I have to say, this was by far the prettiest game I've seen in the New Game Plus Expo. And I'm just blown away. But by how it looks. I don't really know how it plays yet, but just based on it on the looks alone, I really want it now. I want it yesterday.
It is gorgeous. It is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
I kind of don't like how, like, when people... So she had like a little paraglider parachute thing, like, in the trailer at a certain point, and everybody's like, oh, that's Breath of the Wild, and I'm like, I don't know if... I mean, maybe it's Breath of the Wild inspired, but just because somebody has a parachute thing, it doesn't necessarily mean...
Like,
it's a Breath of the Wild type
come
game.
on.
I don't know.
Mary Poppins had an umbrella which she used to glide down, so we're all just splitting hairs here. No one's been really original. Okay.
That's true.
Next up.
I mean, hey, look, I just talked about how Pokemon was inspired by Godzilla and Ultraman, so yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we have Ys 9 Monstrum Nox, which is the coolest name ever, coming west for PS4, Switch, and PC in 2021. This is by Sal Romano once again for Gamatsu. I really need to send him a Christmas gift. He's done such a fabulous job. NIS America will release Falcom-developed action RPG Ys 9 Monstrum Nox for PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC via Steam in North America and Europe in 2021, the publisher announced during the New Game Plus Expo livestream. It will support English and Japanese audio options. Whoa, pre-orders for 99.99 limited edition are available now at the NIS America online store. Like, Godspeed if you're getting that. It includes the packed edition of the game, Monstrum Memoirs mini art booklet, Melodies of the Macabre, one disc original soundtrack sampler, reverse cover sheet, Chains and Chansons, one disc official soundtrack, Nails in the Coffin hardcover art book, The Lost Swords, Ys 9 prequel short novel, The Crimson King's GB figure, the Monstrums and Balduc art card collection, Balduc's Most Wanted keychain set, and a Monstrum box. Oh my god. I don't think I want all of that. I'll make do with just the game, thank you. But it's cool if you want it.
This new Ys game looks really cool because I think they're using a brand new engine for it.
I think it's
so it looks
based on the Trails of Cold Steel engine, I want to say.
Which does look better. The Trails of Cold Steel games look a little better than most of the 3D Ys games, I think.
Well, the older Ys games were made for PS3 and Vita in mind, so they haven't natively been developed for PS4, I think.
Yeah.
So this would be the first one.
I still need to finish Ys 8 on my Switch.
I need to play any Ys 8. I only played Ys 8 I only played the demo, which was really fun. But I already have too many RPGs, so don't tempt me.
Yeah.
I do not have time for Ys. That's another one I'm just intimidated.
Yeah.
Like it's weird because there's the 3D Ys games which started with E7 or E6. I'm not sure which. But then before that, all the Ys games were like top down.
Mm-hmm.
Top down like adventure games, and Ys Origin, which is on PS4 and I believe Vita as well, is really good.
Yeah. Well, most of the older Falcom RPGs were developed for PC markets alone, because I guess that was the most popular back in Japan for them, or
at the time. Yeah, maybe.
Okay, next up we have former PlayStation boss says AAA game development is unsustainable. This is by Eddie Makuch for GameSpot. Maku. I'm sorry. Don't hunt me down.
It's fine.
Sean Layden, the former boss of PlayStation, has weighed in with his thoughts on the state of AAA games business, and he thinks it's unsustainable. Speaking at the Game Lab live conference, as reported by GI.biz, Layden said the commonly held idea that the cost of game development will double every new generation. Wait. said the commonly held idea that the cost of game development will double every new generation cannot continue. He says the problem with that model is it's just not sustainable, he said. Well, it goes on a bit longer about how game development cost has doubled every year, as he said, and that he wishes that the game experiences would be a lot shorter, because now we have like 100 hours, 80 hours.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
And we'd rather have like 15, 10-hour chunks of games with AAA quality. I mean, please. I have no time for other stuff. But as Matt Pescatella tweeted, only way this works is if subscription services become dominant. 10 to 15-hour games just don't sell in the quantities to pay for 2 to 3 years of development. I'd like this too, but that's not how people spend their money on gaming anymore. Which is the sad truth, because if you look at mobile games, Fortnite, all those kind of things, the way people spend their money on games has changed dramatically over the last few years. So we're not going to get those 10 to 15-hour AAA games anytime soon. So, yay. Yay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have...
no, just in case, do you have anything to add to that, Kallie? I just wanted to...
I mean, just about... I do think there's, like, a labor issue, right? Like,
yeah.
It's unsustainable from a labor perspective. So, like, even if you like really long AAA games, like, the more photorealistic a game gets, the more expensive it's going to get to make. And I personally, I'm very tired of, like, I don't need any more photorealism. I think it's impressive, but I think that there is a very serious labor issue. The more work you're going to have to put into a game just to make it look quote unquote polished. So that's kind of my take on it.
I don't know how, like, I'm not sure how these games, I'm sure these games will age a lot better than past, like, realistic games, because you go back and look at some,
absolutely.
like, PS2 games, and those are rough.
Yeah.
But like, what I always notice is, like, the stylized games age way better. I think these ones will age, the more realistic games will age fine, but I wouldn't mind seeing more stylized games, and I'm not saying stylized games don't have those problems too, but I think, like, they don't have to always strive for photorealism at this point, because we know how far we can go with it, and it's like, if we go any further than that, it's kind of scary.
Yeah. Give me more cell-shaded games.
Point. Like, where does it stop?
Yeah. I'll take the next one too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we didn't know who was taking that one. I didn't, but so yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Phoenix, Bandai Namco, and Dentsu form Capital Alliance to assist independent developers. This is once again by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Phoenix has announced a partnership with Bandai Namco Entertainment and Dentsu Group to support independent developers through a capital business alliance that will assist in areas such as development, visualization, and game production using each company's intellectual properties. The three companies share a common desire to utilize their know-how and provide services for independent game creators in Japan and overseas, including providing them access to a variety of intellectual properties held by the companies, support for packaging and retail placements, and leveraging each company's expertise in global marketing and promotion. So, this is really good news, and I can't wait to see the first fruits of their labor. Yeah.
Yeah. I love how much, like, because we've talked about this before on the podcast, but there seems to be this expanding indie market in Japan specifically. And you see a lot of stuff like this, so you get news like this every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I just like that there's a lot of indie support growing over
it's also because
it's growing globally, but
it's also because game development is also becoming more democratized, because Unity is free, Unreal Engine is free, and with mobile phones, it's easier to reach a lot more people than it used to be with just consoles and handhelds. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what comes of this partnership. Okay.
All right. So next story again from Saruman.
I swear we have a royalty check. We'll send it.
Yeah. Tokyo Game Show 2020 online set for September 23rd to 27th. Tokyo Game Show's 2020's digital replacement detailed. Tokyo Game Show 2020 online, which will replace the canceled Tokyo Game Show 2020, will run from September 23rd to 27th on the official Tokyo Game Show website, the Computer Entertainment Suppliers Association announced. From September 24th to 27th, various companies and organizations, from major publishers to indie game developers, will unveil the latest updates, including the release of new titles and services via the official Tokyo Game Show channel and streaming programs, videos, and websites created by Tokyo Game Show 2020 online exhibits. It'll also host live-stream eSport tournaments, as well as provide new info about game-related goods. Online roundtable discussions covering the latest topics and games will also be hosted by the organizer, which will be viewable free of charge. Besides, time differences, this is really cool for people who never have had the chance to actually go to an actual Tokyo Game Show. I mean, like, a lot of times the past few years I've stayed up late to watch, like Sony would be having a stream specifically for Tokyo Game Show, so I stayed up late to watch it.
I also used to do that. I don't recommend it, but it's an experience.
No. I only did it because I had a friend doing it with me.
Are you still there, Erroll?
I'm excited for that. As somebody who loves conventions, it's been a pretty hard year for me. But
he's back.
But
so excited by Tokyo Game Show, he went to another plane of existence for a second.
Oh, sorry. Did my internet
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. You're back. That's all that matters. Okay.
Oh, I'm here, right?
Yeah, you're here. Loud and clear.
Okay. I wanted to say, I was saying that conventions. This year has been hard because I love conventions, but I do like how all these online shows allow a lot more people to have access to them.
Right.
Yeah, it is nice because
conventions are expensive.
Yeah, and like I live in South America, and the plane ticket alone would cost me a fortune, and I don't even want to think about lodging and food and transport. So this has been great, guys. More of this, nice. Please. And I imagine for people in the press like you, Kallie, it's a lot less work and a lot less stress to be in convention areas.
I mean, it is and it isn't. We've had to pivot a lot to accommodate, restrictions and streams that happen at unpredictable times. So in some ways it's been more work. But I think it is nice that more people have access to the news directly.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would miss E3, but I really have. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hopefully next year they'll.
Yeah, it's so funny too because people are like. Everybody was like, at first everybody was like, cancel E3, just do it already. And then, whether that be in the context of some of the more controversial stuff from the ESA, like the press list leak and all that, or because of the current pandemic. But then I see people more recently like, man, I miss E3, and I was like, haha.
Oh well.
But yeah, I miss that was how I saw a lot of press friends,
Yeah.
Because everybody lives in a different city than I do.
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully the world can heal and go back to normal next year.
Well, the world can. The U.S. might take a little longer.
Stay strong, buddy. Stay strong. Okay. Next up.
Oh wait, this is
you.
I was about to delete this. I was
no,
I didn't do the story yet.
Tencent.
Wait, hold your horses,
Wait,
me.
what?
No, me.
Okay.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
I'm going. Tencent developed strategic team battle game Pokemon Unite announced for Switch, iOS, and Android. This is also by Salomon Gamatsu. The Pokemon Company, in cooperation with Tencent Games' Timmy Studios, Timmy, I guess, has announced strategic team battle game Pokemon Unite for Switch, iOS, and Android. It will be free to start with in-app purchases. A release date was not announced. There's an overview in the article if you click on it, and a trailer, and they say it is a strategic team battle game, but we all know what it really is. It's a MOBA, and I'm really excited for it because I like MOBAs. Well, not the toxic community from MOBAs, but I really love the mechanics of MOBAs.
Yeah.
And Pokemon entering that space, I'm really excited to see what they can come up with. I am kind of scared of how the community will grow because Pokemon is geared towards a younger demographic, and I really don't want to expose them to a toxic way of conducting yourself. So I hope, well, it's Nintendo and it's Pokemon, so I think they'll figure it out.
I mean,
and
they never include an easy way to communicate with teammates, so
yeah,
they'll probably have you like enter your friend code before you can chat.
I wonder if they'll even let you chat with random matchmaking. I have a lot of questions about how the chat will work.
Well, it's I think it's probably only going to be open to whoever you have in your friends list or people you know personally, and not randomly. Well, yeah, I don't know.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm super curious about how that'll work because it's not common for Nintendo to have something that requires so much teamwork.
Yeah.
And so they don't really have a good ecosystem for communication, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh well.
I saw people saying that this is something that's more geared toward the Chinese and Southeast Asian markets, because League of Legends is and MOBAs in general are huge over there.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a Tencent type thing. And then I so a lot of people kind of overhype themselves after the Pokemon Snap, the new Pokemon Snap announcement. And everybody's like, oh, what if it's Let's Go Johto, or what if it's the Gen 4 remakes, or what if it's this and that? And I was one of those people at first, and I thought about it a little bit, and I was like, wait, a lot of people are gonna be disappointed again, aren't they? And then I predicted, it was a wrong prediction, but I thought maybe that enhanced Detective Pikachu Switch port that they have been working on, they would dedicate 11 minutes to, just because I'm pretty sure the movie did really well, although I don't remember. It was a while ago.
I think that what people forgot when they were hyping themselves up for this is that Pokemon isn't just marketing to North America, and this is definitely an East and Southeast Asian targeted game, I would say.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense for the Pokemon Company to dedicate so much time to it. Maybe not in North America, but elsewhere, it absolutely makes sense. So, I think I think there would probably. Well, I don't think there's going to be a Let's Go Johto. If they do a Johto remake, I don't think it'll be in the Let's Go style, but that's just my opinion.
Interesting.
You don't think there's going to be a Let's Go Erroll? I mean, Meryl?
Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait to play it because it looks really fun and something new for Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I had something else to say about that, but I completely forgot what it was. I'll maybe it'll come back. We're going to be talking about Pokemon for a while. So our last news story before we talk about other Pokemon stuff and other things is Pokemon returning to Sword and Shield in Crown Tundra DLC have seemingly leaked. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt. I don't know if this is by Hiron Cryer.
Hirun Cryer.
Hirun Cryer? Okay. From US Gamer. Earlier this year, developer Game Freak confirmed that over 200 legacy Pokemon will be returning to both Sword and Shield through the 2 DLC expansions, the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra. Now that one of those DLC expansions is out, we have a pretty good idea of the legacy Pokemon returning for the second DLC. A lot of them are like the legendaries for the raids, or past legendaries, and some of the new ones. I noticed that there were some starter Pokemon on there, and then some other ones missing. Like we have the the third generation starters are on there. But the
Oh, go ahead and finish your thought.
But I don't. Let me see real quick. I don't think the other ones are.
I took a look at the list, and a lot of it is Pokemon we already know, like the Nidoran family. We've seen that in previous trailers. All the legendaries we already knew. It looks pretty legit to me. Like nothing about it seems like off to me. But I was disappointed to see Jinx was on it. I hate Jinx, and they could just I hate Jinx and I hate Magmar. They're two of
Did you know?
Pokemon. I hate Magmar.
Did you know that Jinx was actually had? I think this is in the. This might be in the Satoshi Tajiri manga, or it was in another interview. There was going to be a male counterpart to Jinx that was basically a Yeti. That was partially based on a Yeti kaiju from the original Ultraman series. Although they scrapped that one. That
sounds way cooler than Jinx. There goes the clock again. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, I am on board with the list. We knew it was going to be all the legendaries, right? So that's not surprising at all. I don't need. There's a lot of starters that I could do without, so like I'm not too worried about that.
I just want my Cyndaquil back in.
Oh yeah, I mean I like the Gen 2 starters absolutely, but yeah. I have a shiny Totodile.
You know Gen 2 is best gen. That's what we say here. Gen 2 is best gen.
What do you say here? Oh,
Gen 2 is best gen.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to the main topic. We'll probably talk about Pokemon a little more, but Kallie, I kind of wanted to talk to you about like kind of just your path in the industry and like kind of like how do I word this? Help me out, Jason.
Well, since you're like the superstar reviews editor at GameSpot, we kind of wanted to know, how did you get into gaming? What can you give anyone as advice for if they're just starting out in this field? And maybe we'll get into some nitty-gritty of the things that happened this week, or what?
Or maybe I think we're gonna save that for an editor's note.
Okay, cool. So
right, I think that would work out better if
that's okay with K.
Unless you want to like either way.
Yeah, I would not necessarily call myself a superstar, but I appreciate it. It's a weird thing for me to talk about because, as a lot of people are aware by now, it was a pretty bad time for a while. I started out doing games writing kind of just like for fun when I was in college, and I only did it because I was studying. Well, I had enrolled in college in the chemistry program to be a chemistry major. I don't really know why I did that, but
it's college. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, I was really unhappy doing that, and my boyfriend at the time was like, well, you like writing, and I was like, I don't really know what I would write about. I've never ever had a desire to write fiction. I've never felt that I was good at writing fiction, and I just kind of wrote off writing as a career, even though I've always been really good at. Well, I would say I've been better at like grammar and syntax and editing than maybe writing. But I've always really gravitated towards that and languages in general. But I just didn't ever consider. Drop my pen. I didn't ever consider like writing as a career for me, especially because like journalism, is nonfiction, but I was never terribly interested in. Until I went to college, I was not at all interested in politics. My social anxiety was very bad, and that drove me away from a lot of social sciences. So,
yeah,
I started writing on the now defunct IGN blogs, where there was this kind of like small, tight-knit community of people who would just like write, whatever about games. And this was right before Gamergate when I started doing this. So Gamergate happened, and I wrote a lot of like opinion-y things about feminism in games or whatever, and that garnered me some attention from the community team there, and they invited me to the office for something. I don't remember exactly what it was for, but I remember going to the San Francisco office. I lived in Berkeley at the time, so if I had lived anywhere else, I wouldn't have had this opportunity, which is it's a whole other can of worms. But I applied to IGN, I want to say in 2014. And, they were like, you're still in college, you need to finish college. So Dan Stapleton, the reviews editor at IGN, who still is the reviews editor there, contacted me and asked if I wanted to do reviews on a freelance basis. So I started doing that. Maybe that was 2013. No. The years are a little muddy, but I started freelancing, doing freelance reviews. Yeah. Started doing freelance reviews for IGN in 2013 or 2014. The big thing that was difficult for me was at the time, if you had an interview to be an editor at IGN, you had to take a camera test, is what they called it, and you had to do like an on-camera example of how you would perform, like presenting something or talking to someone in a conversation in a video. And that was something that made me really nervous. My social anxiety was very, very bad. I'd been in therapy for a little while and was working on it. And so I was still in college, so I joined a theater group that my roommate was in. And it's funny because it was specifically an Asian American theater group. And she and I are both white. And I was like, is it cool, like, if we do this? And she was like, oh yeah, they like actually do need white people for like certain roles. And it was really, it's obviously open to everyone. It wasn't limited, but I didn't want to like intrude or anything. So I joined that, and it was way better than joining like a general theater group. It was more insular. There were fewer members, and I really loved it, and it was a great way to kind of shed my nervousness about looking silly. And I practiced improv, and I did dramatic readings, and I had a lot of fun doing that. So I improved my camera presence just by loosening up doing that. So I was freelancing throughout this time. And the thing about my career is people tend to take notice of me first when something bad happens to me. And that's something I don't particularly like. But obviously I had a disastrous experience with a freelance review for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which was ultimately a factor of people taking a phrase out of context, a phrase that I myself did not write.
If you don't mind me asking, how does that review process, or I don't know if it still works that way, because I know a lot of things have changed there, a lot of people have shifted around. So did the person who writes the review, they didn't write the blurbs at the end?
No, you did. What happened with this one, by my understanding, because I obviously wasn't in the office, I was freelancing, was I still actually have it, the original copy of my script that I had printed out to record the voiceover for the video review, which at the time, I don't know if they still do it this way, but freelancers, if you were nearby, you could come in to do your own voiceover.
Yeah.
And I had written type imbalances because the thrust of my criticism with that game was that because of how much water you have to traverse in the last third of that game,
exactly.
you really are only using Pokemon that are super effective against water. So if you have a grass type Pokemon, that Pokemon's going to be so over leveled by the end of that sequence, or like a Pikachu or whatever. And I think I specifically mentioned Pikachu because you had the costume Pikachu, so that was in my party like the whole game. So that was the main criticism. Of course, it got really bastardized. People were really upset, and I didn't realize that,
which is crazy. Because now I'm in a couple of communities who they're not like a Pokemon community, but they're more a general like what we call Mon games, so Pokemon like or Pokemon inspired or things before Pokemon, and they're all like, we've talked about it before, and they're like, no, we agree with that review, like that was on point.
Yeah,
so,
I see a lot of comments like that now, but I still it really. I guess hurts me. I don't know the
it's fine.
way to express it, but it it really made a mockery of me right at the beginning of my career, and that is where a lot of my initial followers came from, is because I was noticed just because I had this very controversial review. So I do have to attribute some of my success, I guess, to. Well, I wouldn't say I screwed anything up, but to things going wrong.
Yeah.
And it really does suck, and I don't like that at all. But
you should have seen, we had, because we're still, Parallax Media, still a pretty small site. We had an interview with Stealth, the popular...
Yeah.
Just the dude who talks about video games on Twitter. And the interview was like formatted like really informally, and our boss just kind of published it without like just by skimming it, and we're like, as soon as he did that, we're like, hey, you might actually want to look over this again, because and he like looked over and he's like, oh snap, sorry guys, I was like busy with other stuff, and then I think he fixed it. But
well, I just wanted to add a little thing. I started following your work after I saw you at IGN doing Anime Club. I think it was also Secret Base, the Pokemon podcast you guys ran for a little while. And just your expertise on certain topics, Pokemon especially, that made me notice your dedication and your work. So I also like to say you have fans from way back, from way before that thing happened. So don't sell yourself short, I'd say.
Well, thank you. I definitely have to lean in very hard to Pokemon expertise now, and it does give me a certain level of I get a bit controlling with Pokemon content, or I have been in the past, because any mistake really scares me. I definitely get preemptively very worried that, the Pokemon reviews, I put a lot more, well, I'm worried about any review causing me problems, but we'll get there. But basically, I actually didn't finish college. I was really, really depressed. I was completely incapable of going to class.
I know that feeling.
I figured I needed a change. So IGN, I believe somebody reached out to me about the position. I think it was Sam Claiborne, who I love. He's the managing editor. He reached out to me about a social media position. And at the time, I was going to have to leave school. So I was either going to stay in my apartment and have a job or move back with my parents. So even though I didn't want to do social media and didn't even know where to begin with that, I applied and I got it, I think largely because of Sam's influence. I know Sam really did want me to work there, and I'm very grateful to him. So I started out doing social media. I hated it. I don't consider myself especially good at that, at least from a brand perspective. I had no context, and the team was very fraught. My boss at the time, I had a boss for a little while. He was my first boss, and he left, and then a very awful boss took over. And so my time at IGN, I put a lot of work into editorial content, and it didn't pay off at IGN. You know, I did a lot with Anime Club. Seth Macy, who still works at IGN, he would fill in for me while I was on Anime Club. And he would give me a break doing my job, which was on-site promotions, so I could do that. So I really appreciate that from Seth. And I just kept doing reviews. And in 2016, I did more reviews than some actual editors on top of my normal job. Whoa. And I know that because Dan Stapleton kept track of how many reviews everybody was doing, because he wanted to make sure that people were pulling their weight with reviews. And so I found out that in addition to my full-time job doing promotions, and also I was technically the community manager for a time, I had also done a lot of reviews. So when a job opened up at GameSpot, I was really nervous to leave. IGN definitely has a, the rapport at the time was like, oh, we're a family. Yeah. Like, you know, you work really hard. And so I asked my boss at the time, a different boss, equally terrible. I asked him if I would ever be an editor, and he told me never. So I quit, and I started GameSpot as an associate editor, and then did that job for just over a year. When Peter Brown, when Justin Haywald, who was my boss, he was the managing editor, when he left to be a stay-at-home dad, Peter Brown, the former reviews editor, got promoted to managing editor at GameSpot, and he advocated for me to take over as reviews editor. And the reason for that is because I had been doing some kind of I was helping him out on edits. The coolest thing about GameSpot is we really lean into peer editing. I tell everybody this, it's something that makes me really like the team and like working there, because everyone is really invested in what we publish, because we all have an opportunity to have our voice heard if, I don't know about that headline, or, oh, did you think about this angle? Nothing ever goes up where you're like, oh my god, I so disagree, how could we publish that? Nothing like that happens. We're all very in the loop and involved in each other's work. So Peter had seen my editing, I guess, skills develop since I started, and I really have always had a passion for editing, and I just, that the peer editing process really let that shine. And so he advocated for me to become the reviews editor, and they let me for some reason, and that's how I ended up here. But it's really good. I love being an editor in particular. I like all the little project managey things that come with having to figure out, okay, I have 3 games coming out in the same week. They're all shooters. Who are my shooter people, and how do I make this work? That kind of stuff is a really cool puzzle and a cool challenge. And on top of that, I really get a lot of opportunities outside of reviews editing work at GameSpot. I'm on GameSpot After Dark every week, or most every week.
Oh. I also got to say, R.I.P. GameSpot Daily.
Oh, I know. Oh my god. That was such a weird experiment, but it did give me a lot of hosting experience, which was very valuable.
I was there almost every day.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Michael and I had a lot of fun. It was just so much work. It was the production. Yeah. The production on that show was, and I'm sure
because you also had a little bit of competition. I had a little bit of competition because you were right before Games Daily too.
Yeah, it was a really difficult show. We were just excited to get some hosting experience, and we had fun chatting together. But it was way too much work for what it was, to be completely honest. But
this podcast is more work than I expected. It's because I've been focusing mostly on this podcast than other writing, and I've really liked it, but it's a little more than I expected. And it's like, you would think like, oh, you just put like these news articles that you didn't write together. It's like, yeah, but I need to make sure of like these certain factors, and then you have to which news you talk about and what guests we want, and we don't know what, we're small, so but luckily we have a lot of friends over at GameSpot.
I mean, there's a lot of production that goes into this.
I've definitely also experienced this because I still have my day job full time, and there's like a time difference of 5 hours between me and Erroll, so between coordinating that, my job, my family life, it's a lot to juggle, and then you also have to make time to keep up with games and gaming news. So I really don't envy anyone who just wants to start doing this. It takes a lot out of you, but it's also very rewarding. One of them having the chance to speak to people like you, Kallie, and learning so much from all your experiences, and we're really grateful for that.
I actually about going back to the on-camera experience thing, I remember I asked you for advice a long time ago on that, and I like just never really got. Well, I did a few videos, and then I just didn't really do any anymore, and then I just got a new webcam yesterday, but before that I actually got the chance to a PR person contacted me and was like, hey, do you want the collector's edition of like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom? And I'm like, oh my god, I could do my first unboxing video with that, and I did. And they're like,
nice,
oh cool, awesome. I can finally get some but then I was like, oh wow, I really didn't comb my hair enough, and like I need a better webcam, and I like all this other stuff.
It's just about getting that muscle memory right. It's about getting practice. And that's what I would say to anybody is, it's hard, and you talk about like having to have the time to play games. That's probably the most challenging thing about this job. Not that the job itself is like super easy or anything, but it's a job like any other job, but having the time to play some of these games, especially if you're trying to like nail down a beat on like JRPGs or like AAA 60-hour games, like it's really difficult, and that is the most exhausting thing. And when I first started out, I did a lot of my writing. I was still young enough where I could pull all-nighters and like survive, but now I cannot do that in the slightest. And so it's really difficult for me to be able to cram in everything I need to do in my day. And I don't really play games during the workday because I have all these other tasks I need to take care of. And so that's something
we're working on content about games.
And like that's something that I really would want everybody to understand if you're thinking about going into this industry, is that like, you got to be kind to yourself on the time. Like playing games is fun, but if you're doing it specifically going in with a critical mindset, or if you're writing a guide or whatever it is, that is work time. And that's just something to remember. But I would say you also don't need to play a huge variety of games if you want to get in this industry. Plenty of people do really well and are really successful nailing down a niche. And like this podcast is specifically about Japanese stuff, right? That is its own beat. I've established a beat with Pokemon. I have done a lot of Animal Crossing stuff. So like I guess Nintendo is kind of my purview, although I definitely play more than Nintendo. But you also like there's no like minimum number of games you need to play or have played to be able to do this, and I think those are the kinds of perspectives that are really interesting. Like I would love to read more about like people, accessibility. Like The Last of Us Part 2 has incredible accessibility options. Like, there are a lot of people who could really use those options, but they can't have had played many games because of the limitations involved with playing most games. So there's no like knowledge, like specific I would never say everybody who wants to work in this industry needs to play Call of Duty or whatever it is. I would never say that. But you just like, I think the most important thing, and I say this with reviews too, when it's just being transparent with the audience. So like, for example, generally for a game review, you'd want to finish the game before you review it, right? But sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes the game is unreasonably hard, or sometimes it's unreasonably long and the story doesn't matter. And I always tell reviewers, like I had a reviewer recently be like, I have tried for so long to beat this game, I can't figure it out. And he's like, I consider this to be an actual problem with the game. And I'm like, yeah, then we say that. That's fine. Like, I'm not gonna make you suffer to finish this game. Yeah, so like I would never
give
like
when like
hard and fast rules to people.
Yeah, it's not like when like back when, and I don't know if IGN still did this when you were there, but back when they were like reviewing like
everything,
a bunch of games that did not need to be reviewed.
Yeah.
All that Wii shovelware.
Yeah, the shovelware years. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so that's, and then I would say also like, to be in this industry, and that was kind of my point when I told you like, if you want to do camera work or you want to do podcasts, like you just have to practice. You need to have skills outside of just video games, right? Mm-hmm. Some people are good presenters, some people are good writers, some people are good editors. You need to have those a range of skills. And one of the coolest things about this industry is a lot of people, you don't really go to school for this, right? A lot of people have experience in other disciplines, and I have friends who majored in film and friends who majored in psych and art, and
like me.
Yeah, and like you get really interesting perspectives just from that variety and diversity of background, even just from an educational standpoint. So I don't think there's any one specific thing you have to do. I think you bring your own skills and your own perspective, and the trickiest part is getting somebody to notice, and in an industry where people are overworked constantly. I mean, I get an ungodly amount of emails every day. The hardest part is I can't reply to everyone, and I hate that. I wish I could. And the hardest part when you're on the other side of that is getting someone to reply to you. And I don't know if there's a hard or fast rule for that either. I wish I had one, but it's tricky.
Like, the best thing for me was getting to actually meet people in person at conventions. Obviously, that's not really an option right now, but but that was kind of, it turned out being very beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to add that I never thought I'd be industry adjacent, because I always grew up admiring what you guys were doing. I actually mainly got into or started reading about the video game industry from back issues of EGM and GamePro, that transitioned to visiting their websites every so often, because we didn't have stable internet back then. So I usually was one of the first whenever we had internet with the news, and just from having the guts to say, hey, I'd like to join your website, has led me to so many opportunities and so many conversations with interesting people in the industry, and it allowed me to co-host with Erroll, which I find is an absolute joy every week, because we get to talk about games and sometimes be critical about games.
Hey, stop making me have feelings.
Sometimes just have fun with it, and that's really a great thing to have. Because as far as I know, I think I'm the only person in my entire country that has a video game podcast. So there is that.
Oh, like we say, we always joke that Jason's gonna be like the like CEO of like I don't know about the CEO, but like the head of the like Suriname branch of like Sony or Nintendo or something, because there isn't one.
Well, don't tempt me, because
who knows?
Because I've had to struggle with some content not being available to me because I'm region locked for some reason, or they don't recognize my country in their lists. Right. So I always joke about, just wait till I am head of like Sony Caribbean or Sony Latin America. I'll make you pay. Just you wait.
I like that point about having fun too, because that's another thing that I always tell people is you really should not be working for free. If you want to do stuff to practice, like blogging I did for me, right? I did it because I wanted to explore writing in a way that made sense to me. And, you know, the theater group gave me so much more than just work experience. If it is solely work, if you are not happy doing it, absolutely stop. Do not do it for free. Your work is valuable, and learning to do something is valuable for itself. But you know, if somebody else is profiting off of you learning in a way that just doesn't work for you, stop.
The one thing about that's been hard for us is that, like, we write for smaller websites, and smaller websites don't necessarily have the funds to, like Parallax. We get paid a little bit when possible, but it's more a place where we come to practice.
Right, but you're still getting something from it, right? Like,
yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying.
You are still enjoying it. They're not like demanding a bunch out of you.
No, definitely not.
No,
we're
different.
really we're probably too chill. We're probably too lenient, to be honest.
But that's a great environment in which to learn, right?
Yeah.
What don't work for free means to me is more like if somebody else is like really seeking you out and asking you to do something for them, that means they're gonna get something out of it.
Yeah, kind of exploitative and kind of just abusing your trust and your ability to work.
Absolutely. And for me, that definitely happened under the management I was under at IGN. And you know, I wasn't allowed to bill for overtime, for example, and I did a lot of overtime trying to prove myself, but all I was doing was creating content that would get page views and ad revenue, right? And that's what I mean. I think for a smaller site where it's like, oh, we're just trying this out, we're getting experience, we're getting a portfolio together, that's a very different thing. So and somebody gave me advice when I started at IGN. It was, don't give this company more than it can give you. And I would say when you're in like if you get to a bigger site, you get to like a bigger corporation job, and any job, not just games industry, keep that in mind. Sadly I do have to get going a little bit soon.
That's fine.
Okay, we'll go to listener questions.
But that is the gist of my story. I care a lot about labor issues in games. And I don't talk about it publicly as much because it is a very complex issue, but I advocate within GameSpot, and it's something I'm very passionate about. So that's why I tell people that I really don't want people to get taken advantage of.
Aw,
yeah,
that's so great.
I just want to say it can be hard when you're a freelancer, especially because you see other freelancers working so hard on things, and then you feel like you're not, and it's just like, man, what am I doing? I should be working harder than this. But then you're like, well, I guess everybody's different. So it's kind of just like, everybody works at a different pace.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to some listener questions. John, who is actually our boss at Parallax, he said, this is a kind of generic question. It's like, do you think Cyberpunk 2077 anime will live up to the hype, or do you think hype may create unrealistic expectations? And I'm kind of like, it could go either way because it's Cyberpunk and Studio Trigger. So that's a great combination. But Trigger has had a few misses, right?
I'd say only.
Didn't they do
Darling in the
Franxx and people didn't like that one?
Darling in the Franxx, got mixed reception. There were some issues with that. I think, you know, hype is definitely something that we talk about in games too, and with anything that, you know, is by a popular creator or it's a sequel to something or whatever it is. I think Cyberpunk the game may suffer from hype. I think the hype is like reaching a fever pitch. So the anime, I can see the hype getting in the way, but the thing that stops me from saying like, oh yeah, the hype might be an issue is really the the length of time we're going to have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to be right after. No one's coming off of Cyberpunk the game. Well, not nobody, but the height of that game will likely be passed by the time the anime comes out, which kind of gives it room to breathe.
Yeah.
So you can, that's my prediction. Come back to me in 2 years and tell me how wrong I am. But yeah.
Okay.
This is from my friend Kallie. She's a big in like the video games like Twitter community. She does like some Twitch streams of indie games and some other stuff. She has like 3 questions, but I'm gonna go through all of them real quick. So first one is, do you think Pokemon or Persona will get an FPS spin-off first? And I was like,
no, Persona.
How would that work for Pokemon?
It has to be Persona.
I'd say
yeah, I would think so too.
I'd say Pokemon, and I'm thinking like an Overwatch-esque game where like you have the ranged characters and
Pokemon already has an FPS, guys. Pokemon Snap.
But come on,
right.
Come on.
You are
right.
pointing and shooting in the first-person perspective.
It's an on-rails. It's an on-rails shoot.
Technicality. Technicality. Okay. Next up.
And then she said, "What's your favorite announcement from the deluge of Japanese imports we're getting?" And I would say, for me, and it's a mix of things. There's Yakuza 7 coming out. There's Captain Tsubasa. There's Digimon Survive. A couple of other Pokemon Light games coming out. It's a lot. I can't pick just one. What about you, y'all?
I love Danganronpa. I just want more Danganronpa news. When I see Danganronpa, I got those press releases in my email, right? I practically had a heart attack.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for the spicy news, and then that'll be my favorite news.
And her last question is, why don't we have an international release of Persona 5 Scramble yet? Or when do you think we'll... I don't know, well, because they're working on it. Probably.
I mean, COVID might be a factor. I mean, there's lots of stuff getting delayed, and part of that is adjusting. On a game development side, it is much harder to do that remotely. So those delays make a lot of sense. Yeah,
especially I was reading in Japan, a lot of workplaces aren't as technological as you would think they are in certain ways.
Yeah, Japan still uses fax machines.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They still use the fax machines. I was like, whoa. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see it at some point. And then Sarah has a question. With several anime series coming back, Shaman King, Bleach, Fruits Basket, etc., what old school anime do you want to see get a fresh reboot? And I have 2 answers for this in particular. I'm sure there are more that I could think of, but these were just the 2 that come to mind immediately. Claymore and Dead Man Wonderland.
No.
Because both of those did not end the way... Dead Man Wonderland was only 12 episodes and took out 2 characters and a lot of the rest of the manga. Claymore ended weird and also took out a lot of the rest of the manga.
I can't really think of anything because I'm pretty satisfied with most. And
you're like, oh, Bleach is covered.
Yeah,
so
Bleach is covered, so I'm done. But when it comes to reboots or continuations, I'm kind of hesitant because we had Eureka 7 AO and that broke my heart. And I was just tweeting about it today with Jordan Ramey about Usagi Drop or Bunny Drop. That should not have had a continuation in the manga, so I'm hoping they do not continue that in the anime. If you know, you know, and I'm sorry that you know. That's all I'll say.
Fruits Basket would have been my pick. Fruits Basket was the first manga I ever read.
Oh wow!
So but the thing is, I actually haven't seen the reboot yet, so I'm a bad fan. But I guess yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm pretty satisfied, and the stuff that I really hold, older anime that I really like, I like it the way it is now, especially
Yeah.
80s anime. I love the animation style. Like my first instinct was to say, oh, go ahead.
A lot of the animation from that era, like late 80s, early 90s, I think has aged really well.
Oh, it's
especially when
top-notch.
when they digitally remaster it. Like Sunrise, who does a lot of Gundam stuff, did Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star. Their remasters are like crystal clear picture. Like it looks so good.
Yeah, and my first instinct was to say Ranma 1/2 because I like Ranma 1/2, but I would never want that changed the way it looks. I guess okay, I actually do have a real answer, and it's because I talked about it on After Dark this week. Is Ouran High School Host Club?
Oh yes,
I think mid 2000s anime has not aged super well. And for Ouran, it's twofold. There's a lot of transphobic language in Ouran. I guess in both Japanese and English, but the subtitling on Netflix has not aged well at all. And we could do without Vic Mignogna's voice. So I would love to see him recast.
Oh, did you see? You know who's been taking? I mean, who they've had for a lot of his roles now is Johnny Young Bosch, and I love Johnny Young Bosch.
Nice. So I think, like that kind of era of anime, the animation kind of has its hiccups. Like even like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, like the animation can be, or like Death Note's animation, woof. So maybe Death Note, but Death Note is such a capsule of the mid 2000s too. So yeah, I guess Ouran is my.
Oh,
my answer.
I have an answer. Berserk, but traditional animation. Please, no more CG
more
animation.
like the 90s one?
Yes, no more CG
More like-
animation.
Yes.
Okay, so it's weird because I thought the first Berserk CG movie looked decent because it was like stylized in a certain way.
That was
but Berserk anime. Oof.
Well, the movies are a blend
series.
of traditional anime and CG. And the newer Berserk series only has some traditional animation for certain transitional scenes, but overall the CG is not great.
Yeah, that one. I just always see that GIF of Guts walking, not like, and it looks more like a kind of like Adult Swim, Aqua Teen Hunger Force type walk cycle. I was like, oh god.
Well, I think that has been it. We covered
I think we're gonna wrap
everything.
it up.
We'd like to thank Kallie for joining us this week, which has been an absolute pleasure, and we'd very much like to see you come back whenever you can, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
And also,
it's just been great.
Where can people follow you on social media?
Gonna
stuff?
do my podcast song. You can
Yay.
follow me on Twitter at Inkydojiko, INKYDOJIKKO. No, I cannot change it because I'm verified and I need the protections from Twitter creeps that affords.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would change it. But yeah, that's me.
I was going to ask about that. I'm glad you answered it. Yeah, I didn't know that. Huh.
Okay. Well, this has been another episode of the In From Japan podcast. We thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.
Yeah. Play video games.
Be nice.
Yeah. Play video games. Be kind to each other.
Bye.
Listen to each other. Bye.